All right, what is going on, everybody? Just wait until a couple people roll in, making sure that we are live. Looks like everything is good. If you guys can hear me, just maybe type a 1 so that you guys can let me know that everything is good. And that being said, we will move on. So today is a very special episode, guys. I do actually have a surprise to kind of tell you. So we're doing a bit of a quiz airdrop giveaway today. First and foremost, I want to just let you guys know. Okay, great. So okay, great. Everyone can hear us. Great. We're looking good. We're looking great. All right, let's go. So today I have with me the COO, Richard Yan of VITE. How's it going today?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me on here.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's a pleasure. So it looks like we got a full house today. I'm really, really excited. So guys, let me give away the big announcement now. So basically, we are going to be quizzing you throughout the video today, and you'll have the opportunity to answer your question. So basically, all you have to do is just simply answer the question, which I will ask out loud, and I'll also post in the description as well, which you guys will be able to read. And then, long story short, you'll have to make sure that your email address is in your YouTube account, and I've left descriptions below if you guys are curious how to do that. Link will be below. Long story short, the tokens will be tallied in August, and you guys will all be able to receive an airdrop because there will be no public sale. So this is basically the only way you guys are going to get it. So think about some of these other projects that have done the airdrops and where they are today, guys. So let's get into it. What is VITE?
Okay, great. Well, thanks for the introduction. So VITE is a company trying to create the next generation of public blockchain. We are basically doing DAG plus smart contract. And we're trying to tackle the 4 main issues with public blockchains today. And they would be latency, throughput, scalability, and security. And our team are dispersed in Beijing and Silicon Valley. I am leading the effort of operations from Silicon Valley office. Yeah, so that's basically what VITE's about.
Awesome, awesome. So let's dive right in. I think one of the most noticeable things about you guys right off the bat is that VITE uses DAG ledger. Oops. I guess we lost...
Hey,
hey.
I'm back, actually. Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
I don't know what happened.
We can't see you, though. We see me.
Oh.
Don't you guys love going live?
How about now?
Okay.
Can you see me?
Yep, all good.
Okay, perfect.
All right, cool.
Sorry about that.
Sorry about that, guys. We lost Richard. So I was basically in the process of asking a question that a lot of people obviously want to know as well. So we've seen a lot about this DAG ledger technology, right? So more specifically, you guys are utilizing block lattice. So for those who may not know exactly how that differs from blockchain, do you mind explaining that and why exactly you chose that architecture?
Sure, absolutely. So blockchain comes with many benefits, decentralization and immutability being 2 of the most important ones. It does have its drawback, though, and that is that transactions have to wait for each other in order to be added to the blocks on the blockchain, therefore introducing inefficiency in the process. So the way the block lattice works is that it's one way to organize the ledger, and so basically every account has its own blockchain. So instead of having one blockchain that tallies all the transactions into one place, we have one blockchain per account, and only the transactions relevant to each individual account is added to the relevant blockchain of the relevant account. And the reason why this is being done is that transactions no longer have to wait for each other in order to be added to the relevant blockchain. So for example, if you have 5 different, let's say 400 different accounts, then you would have 400 different blockchains. And then each blockchain would only append the relevant transactions for each individual account. There is a concept of something called snapshot chain, though, which addresses certain other issues related to the DAG framework. The DAG/block lattice framework, even though it addresses the issue of scalability, throughput, and latency, nothing comes for free. It does come with its weaknesses, and we have a way to address it. And I'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah, so, I mean, I kind of wanted to bring up something as well. So you've definitely heard a lot of almost FUD around DAG technology saying that, you know, that it may have some deficiencies in security, for lack of better words. I mean, are you aware of that? That has been said?
Yes, yes. So when we set out to design the architecture, we're well aware of this issue. As I was saying earlier, nothing comes for free. So, so what you're sacrificing with DAG is a tad of security. And what's happening is that some of these chains can be very short, right? Imagine one account that has had very few transactions in the past, thereby having a very short chain. Now, the issue with a short chain is that the most recent transaction on the chain, it no longer has the protection of immutability. The whole point of a blockchain is that as time goes on and as more transactions get added to the chain, every time a particular block gets tampered with, the subsequent blocks all have to be fixed or changed. So as more transactions get added on, it's harder to tamper with any historical data. So the issue with the shorter chain is that opens up to that kind of vulnerability. So our solution is something called the snapshot chain. Essentially, there's one extra blockchain in the system that's responsible for the following. It takes a picture of the entire system, meaning it takes a snapshot of the most recent transaction of each individual account, concatenates them, and creates a block containing that information, subsequently pushes that block onto the snapshot chain. Therefore, every time someone tampers with the most recent block with regard to the account-specific blockchain, the relevant block in the snapshot chain also needs to be changed. And over time, the snapshot chain gets longer and longer. Therefore, the cost of tampering with the data becomes higher and higher. So that's basically our solution to the security deficiency in the DAG/block lattice setup.
Yeah, absolutely. So for everyone in the chat, I don't know what is going on, but they just keep writing DAG. All right, guys, this is actually kind of funny. I'm gonna probably have to put this on slow mode. If you guys, all right, listen, if you guys keep doing that, I'm gonna put it on slow mode, and you're gonna miss out on your opportunity. So, guys, when you hear this bell, that means the first question is available. So, guys, the first question is, this is almost comical to ask this at this point, but what does DAG stand for? Okay, guys, so that's the first question. I'm gonna leave it up there. What does DAG stand for? Answer it. First people to answer, you will be entered to win, and also there will be no double winners, okay, guys? So that being said, I'm going to move on with the interview. So, all right, we were talking about DAG. So listen, we've already seen a lot of these popular DAG chains, right? Technologies, we've seen it in IOTA, we've seen it in Nano, for example. So what exactly separates VITE as far as innovation, just overall in comparison to these others?
Yeah, so I would say there are a few very important ones. So the most basic infrastructural innovation is the fact that we have added smart contract. Our design has added the smart contract into the DAG framework. So DAG is obviously an efficient way of organizing the ledger, but historically, to my knowledge, nothing has been done to make sure that smart contract takes advantage of this particular asynchronous architecture. So that's innovation number one. Innovation number two is the security deficiency of lag that I previously talked about. We introduced snapshot chain to address that issue. And on top of the infrastructural innovations, we are also providing a few different mechanisms to improve the development process, right? Because we're a public chain and we invite all kinds of dApps to be deployed on our infrastructure. So to make things easier, we are coming out with a programming language called Solidity++, which is maximally compatible with Solidity, the Ethereum language, and maximally compatible with Ethereum virtual machine. Separately, we are also coming out with a applet engine to help create dApplets more. You should be able to create a blockchain-based or VITE-based application similar to how you can create a dApplet on the social media app WeChat.
Okay, so basically this essentially means that you're saying VITE cannot support synchronous calls and therefore Ethereum's calls won't be compatible. Do you see this as a problem, or?
Yeah, so we're maximally compatible with Ethereum. We support, so we basically support most of the features in the Ethereum virtual machine, but because we added asynchronous features, which are basically used to increase the performance of the system, now any kind of so now functions no longer return values, and that means when you write a function, you do not expect the value to be returned. Instead, there's a mechanism called message-driven architecture that allows the caller of the function to receive the returned value in a different way. So I guess an easy way of explaining that is to say that there will be some porting, there will be some code change involved if someone wants to take a Ethereum-based application and then move that into our system, and we'll be providing a porting guide for that purpose. But it's almost like if you want to upgrade to something a little bit better, there is a small cost to pay. And to that extent, we're trying to make the process easier for people.
All right, awesome, awesome. So a lot of people in the chat are asking about how this quiz works. I think I need to clarify a little bit better. So guys, basically the first 5 answers, the first 5 correct answers are the ones that are going to win. So you don't have to keep writing it over and over and over again, all right? And basically each person can only win once during this time, okay? And then you're also gonna have to make sure that when you guys are done, I left instructions below on how to add your email to your YouTube account so that VITE can get a hold of you. And I also want to add that they will never ask you for your private keys or any of your money. So if anybody says that they're VITE asking you for money, don't send it to them, okay, guys? So that being said, that bell means it's time for the next question. So if you guys were listening, in VITE, if there are 500,000 accounts, how many blockchains will be in the ledger? So in VITE, if there are 500,000 accounts, how many blockchains will be in the ledger? Okay, so moving on to my next question that I had for you guys. So can Ethereum dApps be deployed on VITE?
Yes, so Ethereum dApps can definitely be deployed. It's just that a little bit of code porting will be involved to the extent that the asynchronous architecture is being taken advantage in the dApp. Then some code porting will be involved, and we'll be providing a guide for helping with that process to the developer.
Okay, so let's talk about some of your consensus. That's something that I always get really interested in. And we know that DAGs are inherently faster, essentially, than traditional blockchains due to how they're designed. So can you just explain a little bit about your consensus, your HDPOS consensus?
Sure. So HDPOS stands for hierarchical delegated proof of stake. So it's a mouthful. Let me unpack that.
Yeah.
So we have basically 2 levels of DPoS being applied here. The first level is at the local level, and the second level is the global level. Let me explain that. The local level is for it applies to the following scenario. So each account has its own blockchain, correct? And then each smart contract is set up as an individual account and has its own blockchain. So when each smart contract gets deployed, it actually comes with a number of nodes that subsequently support that particular contract. And if you have multiple nodes, you're bound to have forking. So in order to find a consensus between those forks, we have the first level of HDPOS, where a small subset of consensus group is deployed in order to find the right candidates. To resolve that fork. And at a higher level, the snapshot chain comes with its own delegated consensus group that basically takes the takes the resolved forking from the individual local level and subsequently selects a global level global level understanding of the ledger. So that's why it's called hierarchical delegated proof of stake.
So essentially, does this make it more fair than some of the other standard DPoS models we've seen, in your opinion? Because some people argue that even though they say that they're equal, they're still kind of centralized. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, I guess the main issue with DPoS in general is that it's kind of it's sacrificing performance for the lack of decentralization, right? It's kind of like a tug of war between the 2 features that any good design is trying to achieve. I would say the hierarchical model is more a result of the fact that we introduced snapshot chain into the picture, not necessarily a more fair model. I wish I could say it's like that.
Well, I mean, that was kind of the thing that we spoke about earlier when we were discussing the issues with security of DAG. So there always are those trade-offs, you know what I'm saying? And you guys are taking that approach where you definitely want it to be a secure, ledger. So that's something that you do have to take that with a grain of salt. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about was you guys have Daniel Wang as an advisor. I recently did an interview with Daniel not too far back. That's actually what got me real interested in your project. So for everyone out there who doesn't know, Daniel Wang is from Loopring. So can you just, for everyone that doesn't know, explain what the relationship is between VITE and Loopring?
Sure. So Daniel is really the person that brought me onto the team. I've been personal friends with him for a long time. And our CEO, Charles Chunming Liu, is also a personal friend and colleague of his. The two of them actually co-founded one company and worked at two other companies together as colleagues. So, personal relationships aside, Daniel's Loopring is a strategic advisor of ours. So the VITE infrastructure will actually have Loopring protocol built in as a way for users to issue tokens, to exchange token values, and so on. So you can say that the Loopring application is actually it can be considered one of the first apps to be run on the VITE protocol. Sorry, on the VITE infrastructure.
That's awesome. So essentially, you guys are your own DEX, right?
In a way. Yeah, you could say that. It's more like if you think about public blockchains as a highway, then the dApps would be like cars running on it. So for us to be truly useful, we can't just have a highway. We need to have cars running on them as well. And then Loopring is sort of a car that we decided to build together with someone else to prove the usefulness of the highway. But ultimately, we are the highway itself.
Sure. Somebody in the chat actually real quick just asked if you guys will be utilizing sharding. I'm not sure if that's something that works with DAGs or not. Is it? I don't know.
Yeah, so sharding is, so there's a few different ways to try to improve performance of public blockchains together. There's a few schools of thought. There's sharding, and then there's side chains. So we are going down the road of just using one shard and trying to optimize the performance within just one shard. We're not ruling out the possibility of going down these different paths down the road. But I think right now our main focus is to just optimize the performance of a DAG within one shard.
Okay, awesome. And that bell means it's time for another question, everyone. So, are you guys ready? What virtual machine is VITE maximally compatible with? What virtual machine is VITE maximally compatible with? And remember, guys, we're going to go through all these answers at the end. Don't worry about it right now. At the end of this video, you'll be contacted by the team. So, moving on. Let's talk about some of the key features of VITE. Let's go into it. I know you have your scheduling, name service, contract updates, block pruning. Let's dive into all of that right now.
Okay, sure. So hold on. So which one do you want to go first?
Whatever one you want. We could talk about scheduling. You want to dive into that?
Yeah, let's just go in that order. Yeah. So
sure.
In terms of scheduling, the idea is that in the Ethereum setup, the way the contracts work is that someone has to basically issue a command to invoke a particular contract. There's no way to schedule a contract like the way you would schedule a programming job to run at a certain time on certain days with certain conditions being met. So we're there are now third-party tools available to provide that kind of scheduling. And we're basically taking that functionality and implanting it into our tool. Into our infrastructure to make it easy for people to take advantage of that feature.
All right, awesome. And then what about the name service? What's the significance of that?
Yeah, so the name service is sort of like, how if you go to youtube.com, it's ultimately the name is being resolved to some IP address, right? So the naming service for us is sort of like that. So every address, if you were to send something on the Ethereum network right now, it appears as 0x something, a huge long string,
yeah.
Right? So if only there was a way to actually set a name to it, and that's what we're trying to do with the name service.
Right, and that makes it so much simpler for people because I mean, no one's going to remember that, right? I mean, we're used to having simple handles, @, Twitter, stuff of that nature. So that's really a great feature. And honestly, one of my favorite features about you guys is your contract update because we know that currently with, for example, Ethereum, once you make a smart contract, that's it. It's set in stone. You can't alter it, and that has to do with a lot of reasons why we've seen some of these issues with Ethereum as well. So just talk about that and why that's so important.
Yeah. So the philosophy behind that particular design for Ethereum is just that if a contract is set, it's supposed to be set in stone, right? Because if it's easily alterable, then it kind of defeats the purpose of having a contract that has very little human intervention. But in reality, though, there are problems with it. So for example, if the contract were to come with a bug, then there's no way to make changes to that contract. You have to reissue a new contract. So basically, having witnessed that kind of problem in the real world, we decided to add the contract updating feature into our model.
That's something we've actually seen a few blockchains doing as well. I'm not going to mention them all right now, but that is something that is very important, I think, especially moving forward in the future, because you have to have that Darwinism, you know what I mean? You have to be able to adapt over time because technology moves so fast. And the last thing,
Sure.
yeah, exactly. The last thing I wanted to ask you is what is block pruning? Can you just, because what is that? What does that mean?
Yeah. So pruning is is the idea of basically trimming the amount of data that you're holding in one particular place, so that you only keep the most essential data. Because one problem with the whole blockchain technology, or even with DAG, is just that every single node on the network contains the same kind of data, and soon that amount of data will go out of hand, right? Mm-hmm. You basically don't have enough local storage for that data. So one way to do that is to make sure you prune or you trim the data to only have what you need the smallest amount that still maintains the kind of relationships that you want to preserve. So you can think of it as a way of saving space.
Okay, cool. So it saves space, and what about latency? Does it have any effect on that, or does it help?
I think it mostly solves the issue with just local storage.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you for clarifying that. I think those are some of the key features, and I still think that contract updates to me is a really big thing moving forward. And guys, that bell means that it's time for another question. So like I said, guys, this, by the way, just so everybody knows, this is only the beginning of an extensive community outreach program for airdrops, okay? This isn't going to be the only time you're ever going to be able to do this. Definitely go follow VITE if you guys haven't already. So the next question is, what is the name of VITE's consensus algorithm? All right, guys, so what is the name of VITE's consensus algorithm? All right, moving on while you guys answer. So let's dive into, obviously, the next big question, and that's what exactly is the utility of the VITE token?
Sure. So you can do a few things with it. Number one is that, so I think that I should set some context, right? So users are basically allotted a basic amount of TPS. So that is the amount of transactions that can take place within a second. And so for some users that don't require all that much TPS, then their transactions can actually be free. But for heavy-duty users, they might require more TPS than they're allocated for. So the way it would work is that the more VITE you hold, the more VITE tokens you hold, what you can do is that you can stake the VITE tokens in order to get more TPS. So it's a way of using your VITE tokens as collateral to earn more TPS for your transactions. So one very important use of it is actually to obtain the TPS you need for issuing transactions. And when I say transaction, it doesn't necessarily just mean the movement of money. It doesn't just necessarily mean payment. It could mean the execution of smart contracts. So to the extent that for whatever reason there's a strong amount of throughput that you require for your invocation of smart contracts, and you don't have enough TPS, you can use this. You can basically buy more TPS with your token, so to speak. There are a few other things you can do with your token. So, for example, if you want to issue new tokens, let's say you want to incubate, let's say we incubate a new project on top of VITE and someone wants to run a dApp that has its own set of tokens, then you would spend your own VITE tokens in order to obtain the new tokens.
So you guys have a lot more use cases than just gas, is what you're telling me.
Right. That's right.
Right, good. Because I think a lot of people do get concerned about that, you know, when the token only has that one utility and it's just to power, you know what I'm saying? And that's all it does. It's just used simply for gas. I mean, it works in Ethereum's case because they've basically become the ultimate ICO platform, but I've seen a lot of projects that have come out after that where that model didn't really work so well. So I'm really happy to hear that you have so many different use cases and there's incentive to actually hold VITE as well. So
Right. Go ahead.
Yeah, so on that model too, because you were kind of saying about whoever holds more, you can increase the TPS. So what exactly is your governance model? How are you guys going about that?
Oh, the governance model is quite simple. It's because so it's going to be a proof of stake model plus a so it's going to be voting by stakeholders and also input from our community. We have something called the VRP, the VITE request protocol, where we basically have a way of formalizing input from our community as far as what kinds of features that need to be built or what kinds of issues need to be resolved that are currently in our system. So that is actually one mechanism for us to obtain inputs from our community in terms of expanding our franchise.
That's definitely, and I have to give it to you, community is so important. I mean, when you look at some of these cryptocurrencies, some of these projects that are really doing well, sometimes it's not only just the tech that separates them, it is the community and, you know, that outreach. So that's really, really important that you guys listen to that. You know, I understand that, you know, you do have some types of centralization that may have to occur given to restrictions or regulations or whatever it is, but it's very, very important to also include the community as well. I wanted to talk a little bit about your team. So I had a look at your website, and you guys only have 7 people as of right now. So are you looking to expand that team? Is there more team members that aren't listed? And what experience do you think essentially qualifies you guys to bring this to the table? I mean, you could start with yourself if you'd like.
Oh, sure. Yeah, so let me talk a little bit about myself and then answer the other questions. So I come from traditional finance background. I worked on Wall Street. I was at Goldman Sachs for 8 years and then Two Sigma for 2 years. I entered into the blockchain space thanks to my friend Daniel Wang, who's the leader of Loopring. And to answer your question about our team size, so on our website, we're actually showing our executive team members as well as advisors. But we have recently completed hiring for a team of 11 engineering staff. So that includes product managers, engineers, and QA. So they all come from top of the line internet firms such as Baidu, Alibaba, Tencent, and Meituan. We're trying to solve a very challenging technical problem. So hiring good engineers is absolutely a must. By the end of the year, we're hoping to at least double our team size or get to 30 people in terms of engineering staff.
Okay, so you guys are expanding. That's good to see. You know, you want to see the wheels turning. You want to see the team growing as well. And guys, that bell means that it's time for another question. So you guys should know this because we brought it up quite a few times. Name the advisor of VITE that is also the leader of Loopring. It's a pretty easy one, guys. Name the advisor of VITE that is also a leader of Loopring. All right. So moving on. Yeah, I mean, we covered a lot today. This was really, really fun. I never did this before live. What can we expect from VITE moving forward? You know, I mean, so you guys aren't doing a public ICO, so you're going to be coming out relatively soon. So what can we expect? It could be short-term goals, long-term vision. What's in the pipeline for VITE?
Yeah, sure. So before I explain that, let me touch upon the public ICO just a little bit. So the reason why we decided not to do a crowd sale is because of this. We basically observed a lot of other blockchain projects, and we've noticed that the benefit of a crowd sale, well, at least one way of other projects leveraging the crowd sale is to create a create excitement, right? And then there's a limit as to how much fans of the project can purchase, and subsequently they're forced to participate and buy more once the project gets listed on in public platforms. And the way we're thinking about it is that, so a lot of the mentality there is that people want to basically, people believe that there's a built-in profit to be made, and then they just want to flip. Mm-hmm. We are trying to identify long-term loyal fans of our system, and in fact, we're looking for blockchain enthusiasts that are interested in utilizing our platform for dApp development and so on. So as such, we think that instead of using proof of money, it's better to do proof of effort, if you will. So the whole point of a crowd sale is that people, a lot of investors might just want to purchase without actually doing any due diligence or research on our project. But the way we're structuring our airdrop is that you have to know about us, or at least you have to pay attention to us before you can obtain your reward. So given that philosophy, we basically came up with the community reward program today. And to answer your other question about long-term development or medium-term development, a couple of things. Number one is recruiting. So we have been able to hire very talented engineers. On the operating side, I think we have a good team in China, but we're trying to build up our team in Silicon Valley. And on the on the operation side, we are looking for people for business development, community management, content marketing, and so forth. And separately, on the engineering side, we are coming out with a MVP by the end of the year. And we're also trying to accelerate our timeline that's on our roadmap. Yeah, so I think one other thing, one very important direction we're going is more business development. So like I was saying earlier, a public blockchain is only as useful as the apps that it supports. So we have a few very important projects in the works, some high-profile partnerships that will be announced when they're ready. But these are applications that are I think these will be applications that are quite exciting once people find out about them.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and I really do like that model. Actually, can I kind of comment? I've seen a few comments in my chat, and I want to just take those comments and combine them with what you just said as well. So some people are saying, well, there's 314 people watching. Why are we not all getting coins? Why are we not all getting an airdrop? I actually want to clarify, guys, they're not doing a public sale. So this is just the first of many, many, many upcoming airdrops. So the whole idea is I want you guys to go follow VITE, pay attention to them, learn what they have to offer, learn a little bit about the tech, and you could participate in a lot of airdrops upcoming as well. I mean, not to just kind of name names, but we saw what happened with, Ontology. I mean, they took that route, and that was very successful. A lot of people on my channel also know the, value of that. So I just wanted to say that as well. I don't know, before we go, you know what everybody's saying? What you want to do one more question? You want to just give them, we'll just do one more? Can we do one more?
Yeah, sure.
All right, cool.
Sure,
we're gonna do one more question for you guys because everybody's like saying, why can't we get more airdrops? Here we go. Let me hit my bell. There's my little bell. All right, guys. Really simple question. Who am I talking with right now? I'm talking with the COO of VITE. What's his name? It's in the thumbnail. Come on, this is so fair. I'll let first 5 people to name who am I talking to right now, okay? So there you guys go. Also, be sure to follow them. So that being said, yeah, Richard, I mean, before we go, gave it away. Before we go, do you have anything else that you want to say? Is there anything that you want to leave my viewers with before we go?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, thank you for hosting. It's been a great experience. I do want to make a comment based upon what you said about airdrops earlier. So I appreciate the enthusiasm of viewers joining this channel in hopes of receiving our tokens. So the way I think about airdrop is that air stands for getting something without providing payment. but it doesn't stand for getting something out of thin air, right? So I believe that some effort will need to be made in order to prove that someone is a fan of our product and will take the time to read about us, to understand our technology, to build an understanding for our differentiation with others. And that's why we're going to do a number of these things, and we call it a community reward program. Yeah, we're actually trying not to call it an airdrop. We call it a community reward program because we're ultimately rewarding those that deserve.
All right. Yeah, I like that. So guys, did you hear that? Community reward program. Get involved. This is only the first of many. So yeah, I want to say, Richard, thank you so much for coming to my channel. This was really, really awesome. I'm glad that I got to introduce everybody to VITE. A lot of people may not know what you guys are doing. You're very serious about the project. You know, obviously this is clearly nothing like a cash grab. You guys are very focused. You have an amazing advisor from Loopring who, you know, I respect and admire very much so. And you guys have a serious team that's really trying to build something very special. So that being said, I want to say thank you so much for everyone for coming back to the channel. Yeah, my name is K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto. Oh, actually, guys, before I go, hold on, before I go. Listen, if anybody emails you and tries to ask you for your private keys or says that you got to send them money and it's from VITE, I'm going to say it before the scams, they will not do that, okay? They're not going to ask for that. So also make sure that you go into your YouTube account and you put your email account so that we can find you later to contact you. And I left instructions how to do that below. Okay. I think we're good, right? I think we covered everything, right, Richard?
I think so, yeah. So please pay attention to our announcement channel. We'll have more rewards programs coming up, and we're very creative about it. So you might have to look for hidden clues. Some of you might have noticed a hidden clue in our poster announcing the airdrops. If you don't know what the clue is, just ask around. Someone will have figured it out, and I'm sure they will let you know. But thank you for taking the time, and I look forward to seeing you guys again soon.
Well, thank you so much. And guys, everyone that came out to the channel, listen, if you didn't get something this time, there's plenty of opportunities. You know I love you. Thank you so much for coming to the channel. We only support the best of the best here. You guys are amazing. That being said, my name is K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto, and peace out.
Bye.